Hey, and welcome to the Mum Boss Method podcast. I'm Chrissy Hiller, I'm the Mum Boss, and I am so pleased to have you back here with me today. In today's podcast and video, if you're watching this on YouTube, we are going to talk about focusing on the wrong things. So many people go into a weight loss journey, a health journey, wanting to improve their lives and their health, focusing on this big, huge list of things that is not necessary, that is actually putting their time and effort into the wrong things. Now, I've talked to you about some of the simple things you should be focusing on. That was kind of the first episode in this new series, was the 5 things that you should be focusing on. And if you want to skip back to that, you can do. That was episode 1 of season 5. If you're watching on YouTube, I will link the video up above, so you can absolutely do that. But just as a quick recap, that's protein with every meal. That is getting in your fruit and your veg, drinking your water, getting great sleep, and getting some movement in. But don't forget to check out the previous podcast if you want more detail on that. The things that I most often hear people talking about, however, is these things that they spend their time, their effort, their money on, that are absolute wastes of time, effort, money, and brain power and capacity. So I'm going to tell you what they all are, and then I'm going to give you some alternatives to each of them. So often I hear people talking about the supplements that they are taking. So they think that to achieve great weight loss progress and to be healthy, they have to take, this endless list of supplements every day. People focus on HIIT workouts. People focus on what time they should be eating their food, so meal timings. The other one is meal frequency. So should they be having 3 meals a day? Should they be having 6 meals a day? Another focus here is the exact number of carbs that people are eating. So they get a bit obsessed about how many carbs they're eating. Number 6 is scale weight. Number 7 is what to take away from your diet. And number 8 is this obsession with trying to fit more into your day. So I'm going to go through each of these now and give you some alternatives and some different things to think about. Okay, so what you should focus on instead. So instead of focusing on this big long list of supplements, vitamins, minerals, BCAAs, fat burners or pre-workouts, all of these things, focus on eating a nutritionally balanced diet. So make sure that includes lean protein, fruit and vegetables, whole grain carbs, healthy fats. Try getting everything that you need from your food. Okay? Don't pay attention to the supplements and the big adverts and the marketing, especially the things like pre-workout and fat burners. Okay, pre-workout contains caffeine. Fat burners contain caffeine. You don't need those. So if you need a little boost before your workout, assuming you're not working out at night, then have a cup of coffee. Pre-workout and things that say that they're fat burning are just an expensive waste of money. Oh no, the cough is back. Some supplements that you might want to consider that I believe aren't a waste of money. So if you are vegan or vegetarian, you may want to supplement with a vitamin B12 supplement, because you don't get B12 from anywhere other than animal products in a decent amount. If you are living in the UK or a country where you don't see an awful lot of sunlight, then I would consider supplementing with a vitamin D supplement because again, we get the majority of our vitamin D from the sunshine. If you don't eat a huge or can't eat a huge amount of protein, so again, if you are vegan or vegetarian, that might be more challenging for you, although there are lots of ways of getting protein from plant-based sources, aside from using protein powders. But using, protein supplements might be something that is useful for you, especially if you don't eat a lot of meat or fish. So they're the things I would think about if you're going to, but in the first instance, try to get all of your nutritional needs from your food. Okay, so that's the first one. Second one, I talked about HIIT workouts. Okay, so I've talked about this before on my podcast, but again, I just want to reiterate. A true HIIT workout, HIIT stands for high intensity interval training. Okay, and a true HIIT workout is working at your absolute maximum for about 10 to 20 seconds. You wouldn't be able, in true HIIT workout, you wouldn't be able to do it for longer than about 20 seconds because you are literally blowing steam. You are going at 100% for 10 to 20 seconds, and then you have a short period of rest. So again, maybe 10 to 20 seconds, okay? Now, HIIT training, yes, it can save time. You can do quite a lot of work in a short amount of time. But a lot of people think they have to do HIIT training to burn calories. And on your smartwatch, and we'll talk about smartwatches another time, on your smartwatch it might tell you you've burnt an absolute ton of calories because of your heart rate going up and down. Firstly, smartwatches aren't accurate, but again, I will save that for another one. Otherwise, I'll go down a rabbit hole. But HIIT workouts are extremely taxing on the body, on the central nervous system, on your energy levels. And if you're relying on HIIT workouts to do your workouts all the time, you are likely to be pushing up your hunger levels. So instead of working out to try and burn as many calories as possible, instead exercise in a way that you enjoy. I always advocate for lifting weights, resistance training, and then getting your steps in. Okay, but getting to the lifting weights stage might be really far for you. That might feel like a really long way away, and that's okay. We can get you there, but get your steps in. Walking is a great exercise and it's free. Okay, so instead of going to the gym or exercising in order to burn those calories, do something that you enjoy. Okay, next one, those meal timings. So making sure that you eat within an hour of working out, or doing fasted cardio every morning. They're not important. Fasted cardio isn't necessary. And then you've got things like don't eat after 6 p.m. because you'll hold on to the fat. A calorie is a calorie is a calorie. It doesn't matter what time you eat it. How do you think people that work night shifts deal with eating? Like, they have to eat at different times. So it doesn't matter what time you are eating. The only thing I would say is if you find that eating too late at night then affects your sleep and you feel like it's sitting on your stomach or maybe giving you indigestion, don't eat too late at night. Eat at the times that work for you. So as an example, there is some truth in that if you are seriously trying to gain muscle, there's an optimum time window that you should be eating within after you've trained. Now, that's great, but I'm assuming that most people listening to this, I would say 99.9% of them, are not bodybuilders. They're not going on stage to compete. If you are, I'm probably not the person that you need to be listening to, because that's not my target audience. But it's for general population people, that's not necessary. Okay, for those of us that are just trying to remain healthy, remain active, manage our weight, that's not necessary. It's not necessary to worry about eating your recovery food, your post-workout meal, an hour to 90 minutes after. That's not necessary. I'll give you an example. Most weekday mornings, I train at 6 a.m. I get home by about 7:20. I wait for my son to be ready to leave for school, and then I walk out the door with him at 7:30. I walk the dog, he walks to the bus stop. I get back in the house by about 8 o'clock. Then I get showered and I get ready, excuse me, for my day. And I am ready to start work by about 9:15. And the first thing I do is I make myself a cup of tea and I eat my breakfast and start work. So I'm eating by 9:15, 9 o'clock, which is 2 hours after I've trained. And I am ready for that food by then. Would I like to eat earlier? Yes and no. If I eat too much earlier, I'm then hungry earlier for lunch. So, I tend to eat lunch at about 1. We tend to eat dinner in the house at about 6. So I like to spread my meals out, by kind of 4 to 5 hours. Does it bother? I'm used to it. This is my routine. Even when I worked a corporate job, I went to the gym in the morning. I'd either come home, shower and go to work, or I'd shower at the gym and go to work. I'd have my breakfast with me and I would be at my desk by 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I'd eat my breakfast then. This is what I've done for years. That's the time of day that I tend to eat my breakfast. That's what I enjoy. That's what works for me. Would I leave it much later than 9 o'clock? Hell no, because I would be horrible. But that's what works for me. So make it work for you. Don't worry about I must eat every 3 hours. No. That brings me on to this meal frequency, and I guess it's similar to meal timings, but what I mean is some people say, in order to lose body fat, I need to eat 6 small meals a day, or I can only eat 2 meals a day. I have to skip breakfast, so intermittent fasting. Some people prefer small meals and often. Other people prefer 2 large meals. Other people prefer 3 normal meals and a couple of snacks. Do what fits in with your lifestyle, okay? As I've said before, there is no secret to weight loss. It's about a calorie deficit, and that includes intermittent fasting or skipping breakfast or skipping a meal. Some people skip dinner. Most people skip breakfast. What I would say is don't leave it too long, because if you leave yourself too long before you eat, you will binge. You will just eat the first thing you can get your hands on to take away the hunger. Okay, so that's my tip on that one. Okay, carbs. So for most people, the amount of carbs that you're eating is not an issue for most people. Okay, the important thing in fat loss is a calorie deficit. If you are not losing body fat, you are not in a calorie deficit. Carbs don't make you fat. Let me say that again. Carbs don't make you fat. Cutting carbs is likely to leave you craving them. It's likely to make you a bit irritable. It's likely to have you thinking about bread, pasta, rice, chocolate crisps. Okay, if you are diabetic or pre-diabetic, then you will need to eat a lower carb diet. You will need to eat a lower portion of carbs to the rest of the population. I work with some people who are pre-diabetic. I also work with someone who is who feels quite carb sensitive. So she only needs a small amount of rice with her dinner. And if she goes over that amount, it makes her feel really sleepy. So it doesn't make her feel good to eat too many carbs. Okay. For other people, that doesn't make a difference. For general population, yes, stick to your high levels of protein, because that's what's going to stop you being hungry. But what I don't want you to do is think, oh, I can't eat too much fruit because of all the carbs and all the sugar. Carbs are sugar. Oh, I can't eat bread because carbs. I would rather you be eating the fruit and the vegetables. Like, they contain carbs, but they're so good for you. But there is nothing wrong with bread, pasta, rice, potatoes, and unless it doesn't make you feel good, unless it makes you feel bloated or gives you an upset stomach, then don't eat it. But you don't need to worry about carbs. Okay, next one. So many people focus unnecessarily and obsessively on the scale weight. Now, in January, I'm doing a bit of an experiment where I am sharing with you my fat loss phase. So you can check that out in my social media. I'm posting every day about it on Instagram and showing you the ups and downs of fat loss, okay, in terms of scale weight. But yes, everyone says, I want to lose weight. What you actually mean is you want to lose body fat. You want to lose body fat, because you could lose 1 pound on the scales, but actually that just be the excess water that you are carrying. That's not really going to make a difference to the amount of body fat that you're carrying. Okay, or it's not going to make a difference to the amount of body fat you're carrying. This whole obsession with scale weight has been ingrained into us. Think about how your mum was. Think about how your grandma was. Think about how all the women that you work with are and have been throughout your life. Oh, I've put on half a pound. I've lost 2 pounds. You know, when we go to the traditional slimming clubs and do things like the shake diets, they just take your weight. They don't ask you to measure yourself. They don't look at the whole picture. Your scale weight is not the only measure of your progress. So instead of just focusing on that, focus on your clothes, focus on your tape measurements. Choose a couple of areas of your body to measure weekly. Focus on progress pictures. Focus on your energy levels and how you're feeling, because scale weight does not measure accurately. It doesn't tell you if you have lost body fat versus lost water, had a haircut, been to the toilet, or if you've gained muscle. It just shows a number going up and down. So stop fixating on scale weight only. Okay, next thing is what you're taking away from your diet. Okay, excluding food. So often we go onto a diet or a plan and we focus on what we're taking out of our diet. Right, that's it. No more chocolate, no more wine, no more crisps, no more bread, pasta, potatoes, no more sweets, no more ice cream, nothing. Instead of focusing on what you're taking out, focus on what you can add in. Add in more fruit and vegetables. Add in more lean protein. Add in more Add in more water. Add in more whole grains. Like, think of other ways to get your carbs other than those rice, pasta, potatoes, bread. Not that there's anything wrong with them, but what other things could you use? One thing I'm obsessed with at the moment still is squash. Using squash. Not the juice, not diluting juice for my Scots, like butternut squash. All different grains. Like, I love quinoa, I love bulgur wheat, I love what else do I like? Barley, pearl barley. Using different grains to get your carbs. Think of it this way: if you're adding in more fruit and vegetable, if you're adding in a bit more protein into your diet, you are going to fill up on those things and be less hungry for the sweets, the chocolate, the crisps, the wine. Okay, wine is a drink, it's not about being hungry, but you know, you're less likely to focus on those things. So instead of thinking about what you need to take out all the time, think about what you can add in. And then finally, this is a personal favourite of mine, is fitting more into your day. So one of the biggest things I hear people say is, I haven't got time. I don't have time to do anything else in my day. We've got this obsession with, I need to fit more into my day. You know, if I tried to fit any more into my day, and to do that, it would either have to be getting up earlier than 5 a.m. or going to bed later. You know, it's not about that. It's not about trying to squeeze more into the day. And, you know, I'm not going to be that person that says, because I hate this, we've all got the same 24 hours in a day. No, we don't. Everyone has different challenges and different structures and a different layout to their life. So don't give me this, everyone has the same 24 hours in their day. I bet the only people that say that don't have kids, right? That's it. Everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. You don't have kids. Anyway, you know, people say to me, I'm going to have to get up earlier to work out. I'm going to have to take time out of my family time to prep my food. Again, stop. You know, I want to reverse this. So in the previous point, I said, stop thinking about what you have to take out and think about what you have to put in. So when it comes to fitting more into your day, which I'm not trying to get you to do, by the way, I'm not trying to tell you have to try and fit more into your day, but if your priorities are shifting and you want to start prepping your meals rather than relying on freezer surprise or takeaway, if you want to start cooking, you know, one meal for yourself every day, let's say, or you want to find 10 or 15 minutes to work out every day, instead of looking at how you can squeeze that in, look at what you can take out. Look at what you're doing that isn't a waste of time. So I once had a client who constantly would tell me that she didn't have time to do the things we'd agreed the week before. Okay. And a lot of my job is on social media. I'm on social media most of my working day. And every time I went onto Facebook, that person's light was on green. Every time. And so I called her out on it, and I said, if you don't have enough time to do these things, to get out for a 10-minute walk at lunchtime, to plan your food for the next week, why is it that every time I go onto Facebook, you are on Facebook? And she was like, you're right. You're absolutely right. Now, whether or not she then hid her green light from me, I don't know. But suddenly she was finding 10, 15 minutes a day to go out for a walk post lunchtime. She was finding, you know, half an hour in the weekend to plan the next week's food and do the shopping. What are you spending your time on that is not actually fulfilling? So is it scrolling on social media? TikTok is the worst for this. You can waste hours on that, absolute hours. But are you scrolling on social media? Are you sitting watching 3 or 4 episodes of something on Netflix a night? And hey, listen, I'm not telling you can't watch TV, but do you need to be watching 2, 3, 4 hours of TV every night when actually you could spend half an hour either moving your body or doing a bit of planning to make the next day easier? Are you spending an extra hour and a half on work that if you're employed, you're not contracted or paid to do. If you're running your own business, that actually is just you doing it for doing its sake. Could you be taking that time for you? Are you vacuuming the carpets daily when they really don't need vacuuming? Are you cleaning the bathrooms when they really, finding things to do around the house? Oh, I've got to clean the floors. You only cleaned the floors 3 days ago. No one's going to come round until 3 days later. You can clean the floors another day. So instead of trying to fit more in, really, really do a bit of a time audit on yourself. What can you do to take something out that is not a good use of your time? And that's challenging. That's really hard work and takes some real honesty on your part. But think of the rewards, think of the benefits. So they're just 8 things that I hear over and over again, people focusing on and obsessing on when they're trying to lose weight, get healthier, get fitter and improve their lives. And what I'm hoping that you can see is that the things that you might be obsessing on, there are other ways to look at it. And of course, there's other things that people obsess about as well. I could have probably come up with a list of 20 here, but I wanted to keep this below 30 minutes, which I think I've succeeded to do so far. So I hope that you have enjoyed this little story of the things that you obsess over. Don't forget that I am running a free 5-day challenge. You can find the link to join that in the show notes or in the comments below. It starts on the 23rd of January. Please do come and check it out. If you want to follow me on social media, again, all of my links are in the show notes and comments. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate and review it, subscribe to my channel, and share this with your friends. Thank you so much. I hope you are having an awesome January, and I will see you next week. Bye.